wanna test it now?
Your time is over. I've had enough. Here I come. Look out, here I come.
Put your hands up.
Now work it!
Peace and unity.
Come on, push it.
Listen to the funky drummer.
Push it. Come on, push it.
Listen,
Push it.
Peace, unity.
That's motherfucking. Hey, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, come on down.
Push it.
Here we go! This game in recent years has seen a bit of a surge in popularity and has garnered a lot of praise in the platformer scene, with many games in the indie scene taking a lot of design cues from the Wario Land games, with key examples being the critically adored Pizza Tower, and most recently Summit Sphere's Antonblast. Wario Land 4 has left its mark on the gaming industry, far greater than it ever did back when it originally debuted in 2001. Ever since the Wario Land series began on the Game Boy back in 1994, they never truly escaped the stigma that they were just spin-offs of typical Super Mario 2D platformers. While that is technically the case, with the first entry being called Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, the franchise far outgrew just being a secondary Mario series and became its own unique platforming beast in Nintendo's portfolio. These games branched out to try new ideas not found in traditional Mario side-scrollers, such as having collecting coins be a big focus, having more exploratory level designs, introducing multiple objectives to complete levels, and even dabbling a bit into Samus's court with Metroidvania-style platforming. Wario Land became the franchise you turned to if you wanted your 2D platformer fix from the big end in the late 90s and early 2000s, with Mario trailblazing into 3D territory, Wario picked up what 2D Mario left off and gave its own wacky flair. Despite the Wario Land series being Nintendo's only 2D platforming series consistently releasing during this time, the franchise never saw anywhere near the same success as Mario's endeavors. The first Wario Land was the best-selling entry at around 5.2 million units in sales, partly due to banking on the Super Mario Land name, but even then, Super Mario Land 2 before it sold over 11 million units in comparison. Later Wario Land entries never even sold half the amount of the original game's numbers, with Virtual Boy Wario Land, well, being stuck on Virtual Boy. Wario Land 2 only selling 1.5 million, and Wario Land 3 selling 2.2 million. The series did well in its own right, but never truly captured the Super Mario crowd enough to get them on board with the series. So, to conclude the original run of Wario Land games, the developers have created a new entry for the Game Boy Advance, taking a lot of the learnings from the previous games, what worked, what didn't, and incorporating a lot of ideas had left in the tank in a climax that nowadays revered as one of Nintendo's greatest platforming achievements, Wario Land 4. While Wario Land 4 wouldn't be the last platforming game that Wario would see come out, I mean, they had games like Wario World, which came out on the GameCube via Treasure, as well as Goodfield gave their own take on the Wario Land franchise with Wario Land Shake It, or Wario Land the Shake Dimension if you're from Europe. However, in this case, even though the company is called Goodfield, I didn't necessarily think the game had a good feel playing it. Very good visuals nonetheless though. However, the key thing with these is that none of these games from this point forward were developed by the main staff that made Wario Land 4. They went on to make games like the WarioWare franchise, and a lot of them still continue to make those games in that series to this very day. So, nothing really has ever felt like the true continuation of what these developers were doing. So in that sense, it makes Wario Land 4 feel like the conclusion to what they wanted to do with that gameplay formula. So with that said, let's hop into Wario Land 4 and check this game out. Wario Land 4 begins with a visually stunning intro sequence conveying the story. A giant pyramid has been discovered hidden deep within the jungle. Said to contain a legendary treasure, Wario is immediately spurred into action by the potential riches waiting to be claimed. Speeding out in the middle of the night and far away from civilization, Wario makes his way into the jungle and ventures deep into the pyramid. Upon entering, Wario spots a cat that leads him down into a hole, plunging him into the depths below. Oh my gosh! Stop! Stop doing that to Wario! What did he do to deserve this? I couldn't see what I saw! It's still there! Get it out! Once Wario enters, there appears to be no way back out except for the mouth it dropped out of, but I don't think Wario would be too eager for another tongue licking. There's only one path to go down, with a frog switch to open a gateway into a painting a la Super Mario 64. This takes you into the first level of the game, which does an excellent job of showing you the ropes of Wario Land 4. Hieroglyphs along the wall, reminiscent of Game & Watch, will demonstrate the movement options Wario will use throughout the adventure, and the level will introduce the collectibles tied to the game's progression. In each level, there will be 4 pieces of a gem that must be found to open the gateway to the boss at the end of each world. Some of these will be out in the open, waiting to be nabbed, while others will require a bit more exploration to find in later levels. There is also a key that is required in order to progress to the next level, and these come in the form of Keezer, the runny-nosed spooky ghost bird.
Boo boo keys.
Final collectible contained in the levels are the optional records, which will nab you sound test audio. Going through the level, you'll want to get the gem pieces in Keezer, while at the same time accomplishing Wario's desire for riches, collecting as many jewels and coins along the way. These will add to your score for the stage and go towards getting the highest ranks you can in each level for replays. This first level is fairly basic, with little in the way of exploration compared to later stages to help ease you into the game. Upon reaching the end of the level though, you're introduced to the signature mechanic that truly makes Wario Land 4 stand out from the crowd, the countdown timer. Each stage in the game will end with you pressing a frog switch, which, upon activation, will open the portal to the exit of the level. However, a bomb is planted on the switch, and you have to make a mad dash back to the entrance before the portal closes up again. This mechanic is still one of the most unique inclusions to any platformer, especially for its time. It makes each level have its own miniature Metroid-style self-destruct escape sequence contained within it, testing your knowledge of the level you just played in order to get you back to the beginning in time. These segments really spice up the levels and can recontextualize the level you just played through, and many of the games inspired by Wario Land carry this over, with Pizza Tower having Pizza Time, and Antonblast having Happy Hour. This first instance is fairly easy, with the goal right next to the frog switch with only a few rocks to break to reach the exit portal to get the idea behind the mechanic across. Later levels will be much more involved to escape. Upon leaving the stage, if you have all the collectibles, the door to the boss will be revealed onto you, with 2 rooms you can visit before the confrontation. First is the minigame room. In here, you have the choice of playing 1 of 3 minigames by spending in money collected within the levels on these games. There's a face smashing game, a baseball game, and an endless runner. The main reason to play these is that depending on how well you score, you earn frog tokens. These frog tokens can be spent in a shop before entering the boss arena to grant you some free hits for the upcoming fight. This may come in handy for later fights, but you'll likely not need to invest for the first bout. You can, however, get a free smile from the shopkeep, Mr. Game & Watch. It doesn't cost you anything to be positive and happy, and Mr. Game & Watch is testament to that. The first boss you face down is a giant plum named Spoiled Rotten, and given the state he ends up in during the fight, this is rather accurate. These fights have the same countdown timer as the main levels, and you have the time allotted to take the opponent down. One of the cool details in this boss arena in particular is that there's an included CRT and GameCube Easter egg found in the background of the stage.
Oh, finally! I managed to get in contact with you again.
No!
Oh, yes! Anton ain't leaving this time. Anton's blasting into your life once again.
Anton! What are you doing here again? Last time you were here made me question my sanity.
Well, I'm gonna make you question it again. Look, we don't like to hear it, but you really are going crazy.
Me? Going crazy? Look, everything that happened to us last time was just a big old fever dream. Nothing more, nothing less. And don't you even try to convince me otherwise.
Now that's the little balls. That was no fever dream. What happened last time was real to you, in your head. Even if it's just a dream, why are you looking to this more? Your mental health is degrading at an alarming rate.
Why do you keep showing up and trying to make me have a mental breakdown? At this point, I'm just going to choose to ignore you and just finish this boss fight.
Now you listen here, Dukey. You're gonna live up to the Dukey pie of your name if you continue to let your brain rot into a poopy mush.
What's that, Anton? I can't hear you over the fact that I'm shoulder bashing a sentient produce boss in this game.
No, wait, I have something to tell you!
Too late!
Ah, dang it!
With the first boss taken down, another smaller pyramid appears within the center of the pyramid Wario currently is in. Pyramidception! Then, 4 new areas open up for you to explore in whichever order you so choose. These areas include the Emerald Passage, with the tropical theming for the levels, the Ruby Passage, with levels themed after factories and machinery, the Topaz Passage, which has a toy, board game style theme, and finally is the Sapphire Passage, with spooky, horror-tinged aesthetic to most of the levels. While you're free to choose which path to start first, going counterclockwise starting with the Emerald Passage is recommended for a more consistent difficulty scaling. So that would be my recommended starting point. First stage is Palm Tree Paradise, which has a tropical beach theme going on for it, and is a fairly laid back, straightforward level. Hell, all you need to do is listen to the music to know that you're in for a chill time here. Oh my gosh. Wario's a weeaboo confirmed. This is when the game begins to introduce a bit more exploring elements to the stages, with optional areas to earn some moolah. One of these areas that will reoccur throughout the game are these purple pipes leading to challenge rooms. These will have you encounter the Mad Scienstein, who's exploring the pyramid and will, on many occasions, be used to solve puzzles within these areas to nab the treasure tucked within. Most of the times, these puzzles revolve around using him as a tool to hit switches, break blocks, and throwing him into water to drown. You know, that snorkel ain't reaching the surface, man. By the time the adventure is over, he'll be developing Stockholm Syndrome from Wario from all the physical abuse he puts him through.
Give me your attention, baby.
You'll also be introduced to one of the other unique aspects of the Wario Land series in this level, the reactions. Introduced in Wario Land 2, these reactions act as a creative twist on the traditional Mario power-up system. Reactions will temporarily augment Wario in different ways to reach new areas, while at the same time limiting Wario's abilities. Reactions act like a trade-off, and the traits for each reaction will be used to explore the levels or act as obstacles to impede progression depending on the scenarios they're placed in. Also, one thing to note, I don't know if many people know this, but the reaction music is actually a remix of the first few notes of World 1-1 in Super Mario Bros. Thought I'd want to put that out here. The first one here is Fat Wario, which when Wario eats apples thrown by enemies will increase his weight, allowing you to break blue blocks that normally require a high falling ground pound, plus being able to break underwater blocks. However, Wario moves extremely slow and isn't able to jump high at all, making it impossible to do platforming challenges. You know, I thought an apple a day was supposed to keep the doctor away, but for Wario it seems to just give him type 2 diabetes and a necessary doctor's visit to get more insulin. Other reactions are found without the game, and I'll be sure to bring them up as they appear. This level is a relatively casual affair, with a linear way forward and run back to the beginning stage once you activate the frog switch. The collectibles for progression are out in the open, including those adorable boo-boo keys. A fun romp nonetheless. Second level is Wildflower Fields. It has more of an oversized flower garden aesthetic going on, with giant bees that sting you to activate the new reaction of the level, Huffy Wario. Oh my gosh, Wario's allergic! Quick, get the EpiPen! Wow! There's also giant caterpillars, drill-faced moles, and flowers that can be pollinated by the bees to earn money. This stage begins to introduce more multi-tiered levels and requires more exploration in your part to progress, utilizing reactions to access higher areas and to uncover secrets to reach the frog switch located at the end. This level does an excellent job of continuing to introduce the exploration elements, not having them be required to beat the stage. There's a ton of visual variety in this level as well, with underground tunnels, swimming in water sections inside of giant plants, and sitting up into the clouds to the top of giant flowers, and climbing the giant vines and petals throughout. The music really suits the stage as well, and one of the highlights of the game will be the music throughout this whole adventure. Almost all the melodies are worth a listen. A really fun level to go through, full of visual and gameplay splendor. Third up is Mystic Lake, a jungle lake with plenty of water segments to go through. This is the first level where you really have to use the swimming mechanics of Planny, getting you accustomed to their feel. You must avoid piranhas as you navigate the waters, as well as these eels that attack from the holes in the background, and an octopus with spikes later on in the stage. This level also introduces Bubble Wario, which, honestly, is pretty lame. It only really shows up in this level, and you're stuck in a bubble until you hit the surface or ceiling in water. Wario has shown time and time again in his franchise, and every games he's shown up in, that he is capable of incomprehensible feats of strength. Yet his kryptonite is an air pocket in water. I don't really buy it. There's some bits of exploration to this stage, but it's a bit more straightforward than the previous level. This stage also begins the introduction of stage hazards and layouts changing up a bit more when you activate the frog switch, however. The other levels would sometimes introduce frog blocks to keep you from going to certain areas during the countdown, but this stage takes it further, having the water currents keeping you from getting keys or stop moving once the timer activates, and blocking the original path through the level, forcing you down an unexplored path previously to get back to the beginning. It makes the stage a little more tense on our first go around due to you having to tread new paths while on a timer. A really enjoyable stage 2 and a nice escalation of the countdown mechanic to add some tension. The last level in the Emerald Passage is Monsoon Jungle. This level has you platforming over bodies of water with wooden swings. Be careful of the gators and swimming gear found throughout. These are so adorable. I wonder what they sound like. This level breaks another convention found in many platformers where you move left to progress through the stage instead of going right. There's a lot of areas to explore throughout as well. Some of these optional areas can only be reached by using the new bouncy Wario reaction, which is activated when you get hit over the head with a hammer. Maybe I should try that sometime. That seems like it'd be kind of fun.
Let's do it! Well, that didn't work.
Monsoon Jungle has keys are found right at the beginning of the level, but he's out of reach until the frog switch in the stage is activated. This level is really fun and is gorgeous with all the sprite art to capture the rainy weather. They even have splashes coming out of the water from the raindrops. That's such attention to detail in this level. That's another thing about Wario Land 4 you can say about it. While this game might not be very long, it's certainly more quality over quantity with content. The bosses throughout the game share the theme of the world they are in, so for the boss of the Topaz Passage, it's a giant Venus flytrap. Actually, his real name is Cractus, and this boss fight's quite the fun time, if you don't exploit it, like I do sometimes. First, you break the vase housing the roots. Oh my gosh, it's a ghoulish flytrap! Throughout the fight, you must avoid the punching attacks and his saliva dripping from his mouth, which causes the reaction state, Zombie Wario. In regular stages, you'll use this form to pass through thin platforms that you normally can't get around, or avoid getting the reaction when scaling up other platforms. In this battle, you will stay in the zombie form until you come in contact with a firefly. And you know what? That's kind of a dumb move to do there, Cractus. This fight would be over immediately if you just ate the oncoming fireflies and kept Wario from transforming back. But I guess you have to taunt him now, don't you? I would say that personality trait's deep-rooted in you, but you don't have any roots now, do ya? In order to do damage to Cractus, you must find an opening to do a ground pound on his head, with the ladder on the left on the screen lending a hand. This fight can be quite time-consuming and challenging when trying to avoid his undead spit. Or, you can, you know, be Mary McCheese.
Look, the man's already a Venus flytrap. I think it's only fitting and fair that I use traps on my own to stun lock him into an infinite loop where I can just exploit the crap out of the boss fight and beat him in no sweat. Totally fair.
And with that, Cractus is defeated. Now, onto the Ruby Passage next. First level found within is the Curious Factory. Indeed, this factory is quite curious. They don't seem to be manufacturing any products. If anything, the only thing this factory is creating is Wario pancakes. Yes, this is the introduction of Flat Wario. Not that kind of flat! Flat Wario allows you to go into tight spaces and float down slowly from a ledge or jump. Even lets you walk across one block size gaps with your flattened width. This level has you platforming across cog platforms, conveyor belts, and avoiding hydraulic presses at times as you work your way through the factory. You know, come to think of it, this factory is located down the Ruby path. Do you think...
No, it's just a coincidence. Get that out of my head! Anton's getting to me, man. I need to just forget about it. Stop thinking about Antonblast. I'm playing Wario Land 4. Let's just keep going.
This level is not too bad. It cranks the difficulty up a bit, but the segments where you work your way up, platforming to rotate cogs to ascend up, are a little dull in my opinion. It's a little bit better in the hard mode, but in the standard normal playthrough that you'll probably go through the game the first time in, it's not very interesting. Throwing back after activating the frog switch can be fun though, with an optional area with a lot of treasure if you manage not to fall. If you're trying to complete this stage fast, becoming Flat Wario and falling down will be quite agonizing to wait for. Kind of a middle road stage for me. Not great, but inoffensive. Next up is the Toxic Landfill. The name is right on the money. This place is an absolute trash heap. Makes me think of my place before I do spring cleaning. Throughout the level, you'll be destroying the trash, lying in your way to uncover the path forward, whether it be old lockers, stacks of tires, kitchen appliances, and even CRT television. Whoever owns this landfill is sitting on a retro gamer's gold mine!
Guess who's back? Back again.
Oh my gosh, you again, Anton? I'm just trying to play Wario Land 4 and have a grand old time. And you keep showing up here and trying to make me question my sanity. Why? What do you gain from this?
I'm not trying to make you question your sanity. I'm trying to make you understand you actually are going insane.
What's insane is that you keep stalking me and harassing me. Don't you have anyone else you can bug?
No! I mean, I kinda can't be the construct of your mind and whatnot. Look, try to avoid me all you want. You're just gonna keep putting this off longer till you can't get yourself some help. I'll keep finding my way back into your life till you accept this truth.
God dang it! No! Great! Now I'm going to play on the flat screen. Let's get set up.
Anyway, this landfill level is full of secret nooks and crannies throughout, and even areas where you swim around in garbage broth. Wario will stop at nothing to get his hands on wealth, even if he ends up catching some unknown bacterial infection as a result. This level I really enjoyed, and the grungy atmosphere the stage exudes is awesome. This level screams Wario! The next level is 40 Below Fridge. This level has you embarking through a giant cold storage warehouse, avoiding being frozen by yetis and rolling around at the speed of a snowball. The main gimmick of this level is that you'll have to use the Snowball Wario reaction and roll into specifically marked snow blocks to try to climb up certain slopes in the stage. Also throughout, you'll be trying to avoid the Frozen Wario reaction, which occurs when these yetis hit you with their frost breath. Dang! Imagine if you opened a freezer and the cold air hitting you caused this sort of reaction.
Time for some taquitos. This is gonna be good. No, cold air. No, wait. No! What the heck just happened there? Oh yeah, taquitos.
There's a few secrets to find in the level, and navigating the stage to find the proper position to snowball roll can be quite the fun time. The run back has you climbing up from the lower portion of the warehouse, avoiding the Yeti's ice breath that'll freeze and push Wario back. Overall, I enjoyed the level, and the central gimmick can be quite fun. The last level is the Pinball Zone. As the name implies, the central gimmick of this level is not pinball! Yeah, shocker! In an unexpected turn of events, this level has nothing to do with actual pinball. If anything, it's more like those novelty desktop toy pinball tables that you get at Dollar Tree, where there's only a plunger and you just have to score the ball into the hole on the table. Those suck. But that's the hook of Pinball Zone, which despite being based on a tabletop novelty that does suck, this level doesn't suck. Each segment of the level is broken up into these areas which you must find all the balls scattered within the level portion. You must then toss, throw, and shake the ground beneath you with Wario's glutes to land the balls into the designated blocks. Upon doing so, the gateway to the next room will open. Some of these balls can be quite hidden as well and require some thinking in order to get a hold of them. It's a more laid back level, not super fast paced, but when the frog switch is activated, the timer recontextualizes the level set piece. While it was just a casual ball hunt, now has a clock ticking down and you have to clear rooms. Scoring the balls now under a time crunch. The level is a really fun time, and the gimmick doesn't overstay its welcome, though the name is a bit of false advertising to me. Now, on to the boss of the Ruby Passage, the one, the only, Cuckoo Condor. This boss starts off as just a giant cuckoo clock, with a crane pendulum hanging below. If it's like any claw machine crane, I doubt it can even lift Wario. Never mind! For the first phase of the fight, you want to avoid being picked up by the crane, but bait it into lunging down at you. Then, shoulder bash into it to attack the Condor on top. As land more hits, the electric attacks will shoot out from the left side of the clock, while saw blades will come out from the right, making the windows to bash the pendulum more tight as a result. Once you do enough damage, the clock will shatter, revealing the full Condor within. It's not just a Condor, but a Ghost Condor! Someone really should have brought Luigi along here for the ride. All these bosses are just a bunch of paranormal pests. From here, hang out near the Condor's rear, or ghost tail. What the hell is that part of a ghost even called? From the backside, it'll lay a bunch of eggs, which you must catch before they hit the ground in order to toss them towards his head. Do this enough times, and Cuckoo Condor will be scrambled! That's right, egg puns, baby! With Ruby Passage complete, it's time to go down to Topaz Passage. First up is Toy Block Tower. Immediately jumping in, I gotta say, this world has my favorite songs in the OST for Wario Land 4, and Toy Block Tower is the best one in the soundtrack by far for me. All the music in Wario Land 4 is great in its own right, but with Toy Block Tower, pardon the pun, towers over the rest of the soundtrack. This song is just so upbeat and gets me in a good mood, no matter the situation. Now, as for the level itself, it's also amazing. All the levels in the Topaz Passage have a toy and entertainment theme to them, and this level is made up of a bunch of wooden preschool toy blocks. One of the enemies in these levels are also a toy version of Wario in a car. Now, how the hell do they make these enemy toys based on the likeness of Wario for his imminent arrival in the pyramid is beyond me, but it's charming nonetheless. The main gimmick of the stage is that there are these triangle toy blocks in some of the rooms in the level, and you must carry the blocks to these doors and slot the block in to open the way forward. While its gimmick isn't the most unique or in-depth mechanic, the level itself is so good that it more makes up for it for me. The reaction in this level, Fiery Wario, is used to unlock the path forward sometimes and to find some hidden goodies. You'll use this state to catch on fire to break special blocks. Gee, imagine if you just touch something hot and you end up getting caught up in flames.
Mango habanero. Can't be that hot, right? Oh! Ow!
The stage is a visual treat and I absolutely adore the level. Next up is the Big Board. This level has an awesome concept and set piece. At the bottom of the screen is a little board game style minigame. Throughout the level, there are a bunch of number roulette switches, and by hitting them, will advance you the amount of spaces on the mini board game. Depending on where you land on each roll, you'll get benefits such as hearts, treasure, opening up secret paths, or get hindered by spawning enemies and even get struck by lightning to hurt you. The level's gimmick is really fun and is a great change of pace. This level is one that really highlights the creativity the developers packed into each level of the game. The run back after hitting the frog switch is intense too. Basically, there'll be an infinite roulette switch to constantly roll, and you must reach the end of the mini board and land on the goal space in order to finally complete the level. It can be quite tense if you didn't make a good amount of progress on the board up to this point, and it adds a bit more strategy to the board game portion outside of just landing on spaces that get you rewards that you want. I absolutely adore this level, it's a real standout. Third up is Doodle Woods. This level has an art style reminiscent of Yoshi's Island. The main gimmick is a standout too, with the pig artist floating around overhead, drawing up enemies and objects to drop onto the level to assault Wario. This music in the level is also quite notable too, but you know, for a different reason. The song is just downright weird. If a drug trip had a theme song, I'm sure this would be it.
Yep. Seems all perfectly normal now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Don't bite tongue with me. What's going on now is whack.
Just another day for LukeyDukey.
Really? Cause popping a tic tac and you stumbling around like you took LSD is the furthest thing away from normal. Do you really buy that? Honestly, do not see any problem with anything that's going on right now. This is the kind of stuff they send people to the nut house for.
Maybe you're onto something. What do I do to fix the loopy brain?
Well, I would first see about getting yourself checked in somewhere, past to stay in a professional facility, but here we get to the bottom of this before it gets any worse.
Fine. I'll look into it.
Good. You better get on that instead of just putting this off even longer.
What's going on? What just happened? And why is there a CRT right in front of me? And a cat? Come here. Okay. Don't let me hold you. Maybe I am going crazy. I should really get myself checked in. Oh gosh.
Doodle Woods is a very straightforward and linear level in the game. There are some secrets to find here and there, but the main draw is the spawning objects from the pig painter. Aside for that, the level would be a really easy romp without this set piece throughout. It's still a really cool stage gimmick that I adore though. Final Topaz level is Domino Row, another highlight level in the game for me. This level theme is as the name implies actually, unlike Pinball Zone, it focuses on dominoes! You won't find the Noid lying around though. Get out here, Noid! The level is broken up into sections with a button at the start of the room, which, upon activation, will send a set of dominoes in the area, toppling down. You must then race against the falling dominoes to reach the button at the end of the room, get access to a lot of secrets of the level, and to reach the less treacherous paths of the stage. It's such a fun and creative idea for a stage, and it sure speaks to them trying to make a stage playing the actual game of dominoes. I mean, who actually bothers to play the actual game dominoes were made for? It's way more fun just to stack them up and knock them over, and Wario Land taps into that enjoyment of knocking them down as the set piece for the level. This is a top tier level for me in this game. Now onto Topaz Path's boss, Aerodent. Now, tell me, if you're able to guess by the name Aerodent that this boss fight was going to be against a giant inflatable teddy bear with a ghost mouse riding on it, you'd be lying. Don't pretend like you would have guessed that, I call bullcrap. This boss fight is fairly straightforward throughout, but tricky at times. During the battle, sentient attacks will parachute down into the arena. You must jump on them while they're airborne to stun them to throw at the teddy blimp. Once you land, the balloon will deflate enough to lower down, allowing you to short of the bear, turning it over and allowing you to strike the ghoulish rodent. Moments to do so will become harder throughout the fight, with fireballs being dropped on the field that will engulf Wario in flames, preventing him from attacking for a short time. This is just a one-phase fight, a one-trick teddy, if you will. If you time your shoulder bashes properly, you can get multiple hits on the mouse within its vulnerability state, and you'll want to learn it, because this fight will drag on for a while if you don't. While this fight isn't terrible, it's definitely one of the more time-consuming bouts in the game, just to get an opening. Personally, for me, it's the weakest boss fight, but it still has some merits to it. Now, we are finally on the last set of levels of the game, with the Sapphire Passage. The first level here is Crescent Moon Village. This level has a very atmospheric, spooky setting. In fact, all the levels in this passage capture the undead vibes very well. This level will have you running through creepy streets and going through rundown, abandoned buildings. There is also an emphasis on the Vampire Bat Wario reaction, which allows you to fly around until you come in contact with a light source. The main set piece is avoiding a ghost pirate that appears in the background of some of the outdoor sections. That Flying Dutchman wannabe! While on the run through the level, the ghost pirate will mostly leave you alone, aside from stealing treasure dropped upon taking damage. Now, on the run back after activating the frog switch, it's a different story. When heading back to the entrance with Keezer in tow, the ghost pirate will swoop in and try to take the bird ghost away from you. Get your hands off my boo-boo keys! This can lead to tense moments while trying to navigate the way back. Thankfully though, the pirate will usually not wander too far away if it does manage to grab Keezer, so you won't have to backtrack too far to steal him back. I can see this mechanic being quite annoying for some, and I could definitely test this when I was younger because I could never beat this level as a kid, but nowadays I think it's a nice change of pace. It never gets too annoying, and there's only a couple sections on the run back where the pirate even shows up, so it doesn't become something that is a constant nuisance. Next up is the Arabian Nights. In this level, you'll be going through many architectural buildings by the Arabians, using magic carpets throughout the stage to ascend up the outside and inside of these structures. Music for this level helps capture the feel of being in an abandoned Arabic desert town. The run back is also fun too, having you take a magic carpet over a large body of water to have a bunch of goodies and treasure. While I will say the horizontal travel is slow on the magic carpet, and the controls can take a little bit of getting used to, it can still be enjoyable. Once you get accustomed to the carpet automatically moving forward in the direction you're facing, plus the carpet only ascends when you jump in the air, there's some fun to be had with it. I really enjoyed going through this level, but I will say it can be easy to get lost sometimes. Third level is the Fiery Cavern. This level is a bit of a departure from the other levels with this world. This isn't even spooky at all! As you go through the level, you'll have to watch for burning lava spouts, going deeper into the cavern, and dodging boulders hurled at you by the enemies strewn about. The music for the stage does a really good job at setting the mood as well. Where the level gets really interesting is when you activate the frog switch though. Upon activation, the whole level gets coated in a giant layer of ice. Yetis now appear to freeze you, ice physics and snowball puzzles are abound, and previous lava spouts are now frozen in place, acting as platforms in new areas to get back to the start of the stage. It's an awesome idea and keeps the level feeling fresh. They probably should have named this level Icy Hot though. Would really fit the theme better. I really enjoyed this level a bunch, but I don't really get why they put this level in this world.
My goodness, by the time I figure out how this level fits into the theme of spooky horror, hell's gonna probably freeze over. Oh, I get it!
Final level in Sapphire Passage is Hotel Horror. Look, if I wanted hotel horror, I would be playing Hotel Mario. You see that? The Elgato is so scared of this game it's shaking in his booth and stuttering. The central gimmick behind this stage is that you'll be trying to navigate between different floors and rooms, activating switches to make new paths appear and disappear to progress. Each floor and room has a map showing the lay of the land and how some of the rooms connect, and which ones are locked off from each other under normal circumstances. Essentially, this level is designed to be a giant maze. You know, I've heard some mixed and bad things about Hotel Mario, but at least it wasn't confusing to navigate the levels from what I understand. Okay, scratch that, it actually is pretty complicated. You'll have all these different reactions throughout the level too, in order to access all the routes and to scour for the collectibles within the stage. This level can be enjoyable to go through, even if it can get a bit confusing. It gets even more chaotic when you hit the frog switch, which make you have a different path to the beginning of the level. I could easily see this being some people's least favorite level, due to the maze-like structure, and I can get lost playing the level from time to time still. I still end up enjoying the stage, but it's on the lower end of the totem pole of levels for me. But even then, being one of the weaker stages in the game full of bangers is still pretty good. Finally, there's the boss of Sapphire Passage, the Catbat. Right on the nose with that name, huh guys? That's almost as bad as the boss names in the Virtual Boy Wario Land, on par with the likes of Dinosaur Fish, Sandfish, Tank and Operator. I mean, the final boss is literally named Demon Head. Dude, I could have came up with that. A preschooler could have came up with that name. This boss honestly looks like an abomination, an unholy polmerization Yu-Gi-Oh summon with a bat and cat as tribute. This boss ends up being another ghost specter to torment Wario. In order to damage Catbat, you must attack the cat head on top by using the waves he creates as platforms. Between hits, Catbat will burp up spike projectiles you must avoid as well. As you damage it more, the cat will disappear from his head, and now you must actually land on his head to ground pound and do damage. Waves that you jump on will also begin to raise and lower rapidly, giving you small windows where you can jump high enough to do damage, so you'll have to be sharp on your feet. Honestly, this boss can be quite a lot of fun. I definitely find it a massive improvement over Aerodent from the last world, and it's probably one of my favorite bosses in the game. You're constantly avoiding attacks and precisely platforming to not miss opportunities to strike. It's an engaging fight and a highlight for me. And with that, the pyramid within the pyramid is finally open, with only one more level and boss fight lying in wait for you. The last level starts off with the biggest twist, with you immediately landing on a frog switch! Right from the go, the timer is ticking down, and you have to find all 4 gem pieces hidden within the level, navigating through treacherous areas full of booby traps that make you fall and have to re-clear segments of the level. I absolutely adore this capstone level to the game. It combines almost everything seen throughout into a level that tests the player's skill. You have to use reactions properly, then when you should and shouldn't be hit by enemies to use them to clear sections to find hidden goodies throughout. Hell, even Mad Science Stein makes an appearance for one last throw around for old time's sake. He just can't get enough of the Wario. And who wouldn't want to be around Wario all the time? Look at this man, he's the epitome of beauty. Playing through this level for the first time was honestly a bit nerve-wracking for me, not knowing the lay of the land before the timer kicks in like the rest of the stages. But the amount of time they give you on the normal mode is rather generous, so you shouldn't struggle too much. Even if you can't get all the gem pieces on our first run, you can re-enter the level and grab the pieces you missed the first time around. So it's not too punishingly difficult. And I mean, what do you expect? It's supposed to be the last level in the game. And honestly, I think it does it really well. What follows is the real final challenge, the boss fight against the Golden Diva. Upon entering the arena, you'll see all the treasure chests from all the previous bosses are gathered right here. Well, now it's personal. Nobody gets between Wario and his treasure. Also, before the battle begins, the cat from the intro, and from when we initially entered the pyramid, comes in and tries to give the Diva the claws, only to be captured and sealed within her. Okay, the treasure is one thing, but now animal cruelty is on the list. This Diva has stepped over the line. The Golden Diva has a whole host of attack patterns at her disposal, constantly changing her approach and means of damaging her in the process. The first phase has the Diva having multiple masks floating around her. You then must jump on them to pick them up and throw them at the Diva's fan to destroy it. Next phase has the Diva switching between dropping spiked enemies that need stunned and thrown at her, a ball with Aerodent on it that you shoulder bash, bouncing it off the walls to stun her, explosive eggs to throw at her, and lastly, a hammer that after she throws, you can pick up, throw, and get hit by to become a bouncy Wario and hit the Diva's face. As you land more and more hits on her, the movements around the boss become more erratic, making it harder to land hits on her. Once you reach the last few hits, Diva goes full on Karen and begins destroying the ground beneath you, leaving spikes behind to hurt you. You'll have to bait the Diva in and then land a well-timed jumping shoulder bash to the face. This boss fight can be a bit of a challenge to go through at first, figuring out all the attack patterns and how to hit her effectively. Now, if you want the good ending for the game, I highly recommend doing the boss fight without completing it, just to learn the movements, then restart the fight with the timer at max. That's because the endings of this game are tied to how many of the treasure chests float away in the background during the fight. As you take longer to defeat the Diva, in the last couple minutes of the fight, the treasure chests will begin to start flowing away. So if you get to that point, you'll get worse endings. So if you want the best ending, make sure you keep all the chests intact. And for me, I want this garlic breath Danny Warito to have all the money he can get. So I want the good ending. Final blow is to the lips that remain of the Diva, ending the fight. Cat is freed, the treasure is yours for the taking, but now the pyramid is collapsing in classic Indiana Jones fashion. And Wario makes a break for it, climbing back up to the entrance, hopefully avoiding the tongue path to get there. Okay, that's not what actually happened, but good on Seinstein for overcoming his Stockholm and giving Wario some revenge here. Exiting the pyramid with the cat in tow, it is then revealed that the cat that can be seen throughout the journey was actually a princess, cursed by the Golden Diva to be in that form. Oh, come on, the cat turns into waifu for Wario? That's not fair! Why can't I have that?
I want you to become a pop idol Vocaloid for me, kitty. Enough of the games. Wario gets a waifu from his cat. Why can't you transform for me? We can do this the easy way or hard way, kitty. I want you to become a pop idol Vocaloid for me. Wario gets a waifu from his cat. Why can't I? You can do it. I believe in you. Come on. Do it. Fine. Be that way.
And after getting a smooch, Wario loads up, heading on home with his newly accrued riches, capping off the journey. And what a journey it is. While compared to other entries in the Wario Land series, Wario Land 4 is relatively short, being able to be beaten within 3 to 4 hours if you're good enough. The only entry shorter is the Virtual Boy installment. But honestly, just like with that entry as well, this is a prime example of quality over quantity. While I've dabbled with the other entries in the series, and at some point I want to sit down and do a full playthrough of them, I never found the levels and gameplay quite as gripping as Wario Land 4. They may have way more levels and content, but what's the point if the game doesn't have me hooked enough to want to see all the content? Wario Land 4, from start to finish, constantly kept me engaged, and almost every level in the game brings something new to the table to set each stage apart from the rest. Many ideas, rarely even seen in other platformers, are found in the gimmicks of the stages of the game. I mean, how many platformers have you played where they had a stage where you had a minigame board, or having levels where you interact with pinball mechanisms, or a level where you play and completely change the visual theme halfway through? Not a whole lot of platformers pack that much creativity in them, especially as densely as Wario Land 4. Games like Pizza Tower and Antonblast have managed to do so, and even Mario Wonder has captured that kind of creativity throughout. But these games took 20 years to follow up and compare to some of the variety found within Wario Land 4. If you haven't tried this game out, I highly recommend you give Wario Land 4 a look. Recently got added to the Switch Online expansion pack, so you can play the game that way officially if you want to spend $50 a year to rent it. Or you can buy a GBA copy for 40 or 60 bucks, or just emulate it, I guess. I won't judge you. I mean, frankly, Nintendo's not offering an alternative that doesn't require paying a subscription fee.
I won't tell anybody if you do. Your secret is safe with me. Well, now that all that stuff's taken care of, I should probably go and actually take Anton's advice, whether he's real or not. Whatever the case is, something must be up with my brain, because I don't think I haven't been holding together recently, it seems like. I might be going insane in the membrane, so I better get myself looked at and get myself checked in somewhere. But where? I think I know where now.